episode of something. Hi, and welcome to my knitting podcast. My name is Tiina, and I live in Finland, Jyväskylä. This is the first episode of my podcast ever. I've recorded this intro quite a many times, so I think it just has to be enough with the new tryouts, because otherwise I will never get this thing recorded, so let's just carry on. I'm probably gonna say same things tons of times because I've slept about 5 hours last night. So apologies. And also I'm not a native English speaker, so sometimes I have trouble finding the words and they might just sound funny, but bear with me. Okay, so excited or what? Like I'm really excited. I have a 1-year-old daughter. She's turning 2 in 4 months. Yep. And when she was a baby, I started to watch a lot of podcasts because the breastfeeding took quite a long time. So there were good times to watch random stuff on the internet. And yeah, I'm not saying the knitting podcasts are random, but those were like really fun stuff to see, and most of them were exactly the right length to relax and get the baby its food, and then that I was enjoying the time as well. So yeah, that's when I saw the podcast for the first time and I was immediately hooked. I somehow knew that I just have to do this. I'm not a person who likes to be on a video, and I'm quite like self-aware what I'm doing and saying, so this is like really big thing for me. But I'm thinking that this is also a good thing that I can actually learn to be more, I don't know, outgoing in this way. Yeah, the reason why I really wanted to have my own podcast is because I'm really enjoying all the podcasts that I've been watching, and I would like to somehow also to be a part of that, because I know I've been enjoying those so much that I also might have something to give for the other people. And yeah, it is it's and also like if there's a actual deadline to finish some things that I'm knitting, it's quite a good thing, because I'm a desperate person to start a lot of projects, and yeah, some of them I finished like in just a couple of weeks. I've done already this year. It is June. I've knitted 4 sweaters, so it's not that I'm not finishing anything, but there are a lot of stuff that I've been working on for many years and they just never get finished because there's always something more exciting to start. So I really hope this podcast would also like really like cheer me up to actually like finish things. And what I've liked so much is that people are giving their opinions on the patterns and from the yarns, which have been good and which have not been that great. So yay, I really hope that I have something that I can share with you, and yeah, just welcome. This first episode, it could be a bit like random stuff just coming out of my mouth, so I have kind of a plan what I want to say, but it is still all very new to me. So yay, let's start. So I really let's start with. Okay, so let's start with my yarn story. Actually, I haven't been knitting that long. It's not that I would have started it as a kid. Now I'm 34 years old and I started knitting about 6 years ago. It was a kind of a situation in my life that actually we got a miscarriage and I needed something to get my thoughts out and just like do something where I could just do something and not to think about stuff. So that's where I really started to knit. I started with one kind, it was actually a baby blanket that I started with, which is kind of a weird thing to start after miscarriage. But yeah, that was kind of my project to grieve for the whole thing. And there were some new patterns and new ways to knit in that, because when I started to do that blanket, I haven't touched needles for probably I don't know, 15 years or so. So even to make a purl stitch was incredibly hard. And I noticed that I did it for really weird way for the first year perhaps. So it was, I didn't do my lessons in YouTube good enough. But yeah, it has been kind of a funny thing, but I actually never finished the blanket, and then I had a pause for maybe like a half a year where I didn't do that much. I just bought a lot of yarn because yarn it's amazing. The colors are great, and when you really have like the problem that I probably had before starting to knit in the adult age was that the yarns that I was using were not that great. There were some commercial yarns from your local supermarket, and some of them, yeah, they're cheap, but they don't really look great. They don't feel great, and most of them, or some of them, they're not that nice to knit. And the tools that I had, they were like completely wrong. The blanket that I was doing, I didn't know anything about like even what kind of needles I should use. I had like this long needles when I started to do it, and it was not that comfortable. But when I found the circular needles, so that was like, that was heaven. That was going so well. And yeah, I did the couple squares to the blanket, and then I sort of got a bit bored with it. And actually I never finished it. Did I already say that? I probably did. Anyways, I never finished the blanket, and when I even did the like some of the parts to it, I felt that I got the grief out and I was kind of done with it. So I thought like, okay, this is actually quite fun. And then I went to the local library and like really learned a lot of knitting books, and I saw these like really beautiful patterns and sweaters, and I thought like, okay, well, the recipes, they look hard, but with the help of YouTube and friends, I probably could knit something. So what I did, I loaned the Icelandic sweater book from the library, and the first project that I ever like properly did and finished was actually an Icelandic sweater with like really like proper pattern on it. So that wasn't really a starter thing to do, but when I start to do something, I usually overdo it, if you can say it like this. But yeah, I didn't start with the easier stuff, but it was fun, and it was actually much easier than I thought. And the lead lope yarn was really good to work with because it was quite forgiving. Because of the rustic yarn, it was quite sticking to it. Like if you actually lost a needle, then it wouldn't just like unravel the whole thing. So I wasn't have to be scared that the whole thing will just like explode if I take it with me somewhere. So yeah, the first sweater, what I did, it was actually kind of a, I think it's a vest. Well, it's not open in front, but it's a kind of a vest. And it has this wave pattern here. I will one time show it. I probably can add a picture here. I don't know, we'll see. So yeah, I did that. And it took about 2 weeks. It was actually quite fast project for someone who just started, and I really enjoyed it. And after that I just carry on with knitting. And yeah, before this first sweater I didn't even finish any socks. I thought that like the socks were the most difficult thing to do. And yeah, it took another maybe 3 years before I finished my first socks. Now I've been doing quite a lot of socks. Well, some of you might actually like knit 10 socks in a week, I've heard. But I finished probably 12-15 pairs of socks. And yeah, the next challenge that I will actually face is now I've been doing just really like basic socks. So that is, I have this kind of a list of things that I would like to try this year. And one of this was to actually like try more difficult socks, like do it from toe up, because I've been always doing the really basic one from top down. So I would like to do it other way around. And I would really like to try the magic loop. I've tried it once and I found it quite difficult. So that really killed my mojo for a bit. But yeah, I should still give it a go. Because what I've noticed that something that was difficult a year ago doesn't really mean that it's difficult now. It is kind of a learning curve that you just, something that was harder before actually gets easier. You just have to do a bit of research and then just try it. And like it is quite difficult because I'm quite perfectionist. I want everything to be exactly like in the pictures. Like if it would be possible, I would really like to have like fabric quality and those, but that is kind of a mentality that I should like work on it, because if you knit your stuff yourself, they don't have to look like they would be manufactured somewhere. That is not the point. So if there is a mistake somewhere, you should be more forgiving in a way, because that is part of this hobby. So that is something I really should work on it and try new things. I really would like to do the socks, and in the beginning of the year I managed to conquer one of my biggest fears, that was brioche, and that was actually a lot easier than I thought. Okay, there's a really scary part. If you actually lose a stitch, you can completely unravel the thing. But yeah, if you're just really patient and just practice, you can actually get better in that as well. So that was fun thing. And I also started to do this Nonnuneuloja, that is a Finnish podcaster, her challenge to actually do a pair of socks per month. I've knitted 3 or 4 pairs. 4 pairs of socks, I think. Yeah, 4 pairs of socks, and there are till 8 socks to go. I'm quite behind of the schedule, but then again, I've actually really like noticed that socks are probably not my passion. I actually would use them if I could get them ready, and I would actually need socks, but knitting them is just not my cup of tea just yet. I might much rather knit some sweaters or shawls or just something else, just not socks. Yay, so the yarn story, where did I leave? So basically it has been exciting, and I always thought that knitting is not my thing. When I was in high school and like in a school earlier as a child, I was really like early crocheter. I crocheted already when age of 6 or 5 or something like this, and I really enjoyed it. It was really easy, and it was kind of like relaxing in a way. I did some bags and hats and what else? Some knits for my daddy, like really childish stuff, but it was still fun. So I always thought like crocheting is my thing, but yeah, that was also, I did some stuff, and then I had a break for many years and did something, and then that is a kind of I haven't been crocheting for ages. And there's also like before Ravelry and all of this like social media, all the patterns and the ways to crochet and knit, they weren't the style that I liked really. So my life is too short. I don't want to knit things that I don't like. So I thought like there isn't anything interesting that I would like to do in these both crafts, so why to do it? But now, after discovering Ravelry, there's tons of stuff that I really would like to knit, and yeah, in my free time I just mostly knit. And yeah, sometimes it's a bit unhealthy just to sit down that much, but it is something that I enjoy to do that much. So, what am I wearing? This is the payment by Veera Välimäki. This was finished last spring, I guess. It has been quite not that it didn't have a good luck when I finished it. Like in exactly that day that I got it done, it got caught in my jacket, and there is a bit of weird stitches here. And me being a perfectionist, I really don't like that they show up. They don't show up that much, but still I know that they are there and they are not perfect and even. So I'm been half avoiding to wear this thing. But now, since it's summer again, this is actually quite nice. So I'm trying to get used to actually wearing it. And yeah, there's tons of other things that I finished this year, but I will save them for some later episode. This episode I will show some of my whips that I've been working on. I will not show all of them because, as probably I mentioned earlier, probably not, don't remember. Anyways, my tendency is to start a lot of things, and some of them I finish, some of them are longer projects. They can take a year, 2, 3, 4, or a longer time. We'll see. I would really like to finish a lot of them, and my really like a sweet spot would be to have maximum 5 projects on the needle. So that is something I would really like to reach in the next year or year and a half. That not to have that many things on the needles. So, but I will show you a couple of things. There will be some noises now, but don't worry. This is socks. Let me see. The colors are, yeah, that's probably the right color. This is Regia. This is actually a seasonal colorway. It's called Zuckerstange. I bought it from Pietarsaari. This will be just a plain sock. Could be that I will do an afterthought heel. I have never done it, but I would probably like to test it with this. This is the first pair, so there is still quite a lot to go. So that's my sock on the needles. And then I will show you some of my shawls that I've been working on. This is my exploration station. I'm at the I finished the brioche, and then there is 3 more parts to go. Yeah, I've been using Filcolana Arwetta in this. That is Filcolana and the purple one, and then the green, that is Holst Garn, and the blue one is Holst Garn also. That is the Highland yarn. I think they're all merino, probably. I could be lying, but I think they are merino. And this freaking brioche. That was so difficult. This is like the first proper brioche that I did. And I had to start it 4 times. So this shawl is lucky to be alive. I wanted to burn it so many times that I cannot even. Yeah, don't tell you, but it has been quite a challenge. I really like, and yeah, what I forgot to say, that is the pattern of Steven West exploration station that I did say. I really like Steven's patterns. They are really exciting and they are fun to work with, and the patterns itself, they are like super well written. But when you are a beginner, like a beginner knitter, then they can be a bit challenging. But I love challenge. But I've had to unravel so much. Like I'm like a queen of negative knitting, just like doing same thing over and over and over again. And that is also a bit my fault as well. I sometimes notice that, okay, I made a mistake. And then instead of like fixing it on time, I'm being a bit too brave enough to actually carry on. And then after a while, I notice that, no, this is not working. And then I have to unravel, rip back, and yeah. Unravel is actually not the right word that I should use. That's probably rip. Yeah, anyway, so as I said, I'm not a native English speaker. I might use funny words, but yeah, you might get the idea still. Okay, next shawl, and this is the last shawl that I've started. This is Vertices Unite, also by Steven West, and the yarn, that is also Arwetta, Filcolana, and this yarn I've also bought from Pietarsaari or Jakobstad. in the coast of Finland. This is not been done that much. There's been tons of other projects that I've been trying to finish, and if I'm lucky I would really like to have this done in the next couple of months, because I've seen so many beautiful Vertices Unite shawls that I just have to get one. And these two yarns are so great color. I love them. And what I will add here is light gray, dark gray, mustard, and I think the last color is called squirrel. So there will be a lot of brown, yellow, and gray coming. So this will look quite amazing, I'm sure. And the next shawl. This is from last summer. This is from Villapesupinnat. This is their first shawl pattern. Villapesupinnat is a Finnish knitting podcast. They are these two amazing ladies from north of Finland. And their podcast was actually the first podcast that I ever watched. And I really, really enjoyed their podcast. So, thank you for inspiring me and a lot of others. And this pattern, this is really fun. It is changing a lot. There's always something new coming. And actually this one, I don't have enough needles. The needles which were in the Vertices Unite are from this. So it has been hibernating for a while. And the yarns that I forgot to say, they are just really like random merino leftovers. There's some drops and long yarns. I don't even remember. I did some baby knitting for my daughter when she was born, and most of these yarns are just leftovers from the stuff that I did for her. And then the last thing I will show to you, this will not look that amazing, but I will show it still. And this is Isager or Isager yarn. This is the alpaca 2. It must be that. It will be a shawl. This is the pattern by Tiina Huhtaniemi, I think. The owner of Tititu and the owner of the amazing yarn company Tukuwool. This is her pattern called Muisto. And this is the first shawl that I ever properly started. So this has been on my needles for the longest time. And we'll see. I want to finish this also in the next couple of months, but there for a while I didn't know where I was actually in the pattern, so it was waiting for me just to sit down and calculate how many stitches do I have. So that was like the super ridiculous reason to actually have your knitting stand on its stuff stand aside that long. Okay, so there were some of the whips that I've been doing lately, and there's also I started a new sweater this week. I've been doing this Jennifer Steingass's lovely pattern, the arboreal sweater. You've probably seen it. It's kind of a leaf pattern, and you knit it out of Letlopi, which is definitely one of my favorite yarns when it comes to more commercial yarns. So I really like that, and it's quite versatile. What is a bit minus in is that it is quite itchy, but I've heard that the more you use it, the softer it gets. And like even more random stuff that I've heard is that some of the Icelandics actually wash it with conditioner. I don't know if it's just like, yeah, a rumor, or can you actually do it, but yeah, just write me down the comments below. Actually, I would really like to know if you have some tricks to how to get your rustic wool sweaters a bit more softer. I really would like to know. And the last thing that I will show to you today is my acquisitions. Yesterday, what I forgot to tell you is that I live in Jyväskylä, which means that we have the greatest knitting festival in the whole wide world, and that is next week. And this is the 4th year that we have the festival, and for the last 3 years I've always been just a guest there. But this year I actually decided that I want to somehow give my effort to this lovely event, and I'm one of the volunteers there this week. So if you're coming next week, then yay, welcome, and come say hello if my podcast is actually out before that and you happen to see this. So yeah, I will be attending that, and yesterday we had an info about all the things that we should know before actually being volunteer at the festival. And what happens when you go to a yarn shop? You normally don't go out empty-handed, and this was the case this time as well. I went around the shop a lot, and I thought like, okay, I will now really be like, don't buy anything now, because the next week there will be tons of lovely stuff that you want, so don't spend your money yet. But then I saw this yarn. And this is Julie Asselin. I don't know how to pronounce this, but this is her lovely nurtured fine yarn. It is fine wool from North America. And what is even more weird for me, I'd say, it's a lace weight. I think I have 2 yarns out of lace weight so far. So this is not something that I normally buy, but this color, just look at it. It gets a bit burned down from the window. But there are this lovely, like, really like tiny bit of like icy green, blue, pink, everything. This is just perfection. I have no idea what I'm gonna knit out of it. Probably a shawl, if there is a simple enough pattern for this, for the lace weight. I searched for a lot of patterns yesterday from Ravelry, but I did not find anything that really suited my needs, because I like, yeah, I usually like simple stuff, but now all the shawls that I just showed you, none of them is that simple. But let me say, I think I like things that they look like more like graphic, that they are not, if there's some flowers and some kind of funky lace pattern, then mostly I'm not that super excited about those. So yay, I've been having my monologue for the last 35 minutes. I think it starts to be enough that we will start to wrap this thing. I will see you hopefully in a couple of weeks. I would really like to film this podcast maybe 2 times a month. That is probably the realistic timing to actually get this out, because as I said earlier, I have a toddler and a family. Family of 3, my husband and my toddler, and I work, not a full-time, just 4 days a week. But still there are a lot of things that I have to do and get fixed. So sometimes the knitting time is quite limited. And next month we will go on a trip. We will be in Sweden for hopefully 3 weeks, at least a couple of weeks. We will go to North Sweden, and that will be, we will probably drive over 2,000 kilometers, if not 3,000 kilometers on that trip. So if you want to go there, you will stay quite long. So I don't know whether I will have good enough internet to actually publish any videos, but we'll see. Hopefully I will get to see you sooner. And also I really hope that I will get to film some footage from the knitting festival, that some of you who don't get to go there will have a tiny sneak peek from it, and those who will actually get to go there will have something to remember and just take a look and be excited, like, oh, I was there. So I'm gonna say thank you, and even more thank you that if you actually reached the end of this podcast. It was a lot of rambling stuff at the moment, I apologize, but hopefully you will come back and hit the subscribe button, and I will appreciate all the nice comments. Not that many negative comments, please. That will be horrible, because I really will want to put a lot of effort in this. I don't feel that I probably did on my first episode, but this is a thing that I will have to learn how to do, and yay, forgive me. Apologies. I was so nervous to actually film this thing. I'm not that good in front of camera, and I'm actually quite shy and don't want to make a big fuss out of myself. So to actually sit here and do my own podcast, that is a really big thing for me. So thank you, and see you next week. The first episode ever. I'm super excited, nervous and very nervous. I don't know why I'm nervous.